Welcome. This is the Talk Back for Flavors, and I am Lisa, one of your producers. And I'm here with the cast of Flavors and the executive producer. And I'll start with Michael, our executive producer. If each one of you would introduce yourselves and let us know what your character's name is, what your role is on Flavors. Michael?
Hi, I'm Michael Leslie. I was the writer and creator, executive producer of Flavors.
And I'm Abby Cooper, and I was Heather.
Hi, I'm Keela Hamilton, and I play Jasmine.
John Paul Lavoisier, I played Brett.
David Murphy, Wayne.
Christopher Wolf, Andre.
Wonderful. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Today we just want to talk about your reactions to first seeing the project. You guys just spent some time watching the project, and want to talk through just your thoughts about that, your thoughts about your role, and kind of some greater themes that are in the project. So first, let's just begin and just jump in. This is kind of relaxed and informal. What did you all think about the project when you first read for it? Let's go back to even before it began, when you first got the script. What did you think about the characters that you were reading for?
For me, it was really interesting because I grew up in LA. I grew up in a fairly rough part of LA, but I don't. So I know both sides. I grew up in a rough part of LA, but I went to private school and I live in a valley now in LA, predominantly white, I guess like enclave or area. And this guy is coming from, I guess, a predominantly white area and moving, and trying to. I feel like I've had times where I feel like I have to prove my blackness to people or whatever, and so I kind of related to that on that level. And you feel like there's always this thing as a black guy sometimes, like you're not being black if you're doing anything that's educated or anything that's like not ignorant. They're just like, oh, you're not black. That saying.
What is that black? What is that?
But so it was good. I thought it was funny. Was really excited to come in and audition for it. And it was really fun. I just got to have fun. That's what I remember.
For me, it was interesting when I first read when I read the script. I felt like there were certain things that Jasmine was interested in and things that she was going through as far as relationships that was very similar to me. So I grew up in LA, South Central LA, and so the guys that you date there, they're not scholars. So I had that issue with dating bad boys. Even though I was a good girl, I would say I was a good girl in high school. My parents were very strict, but it was just this thing about bad guys and, dating the roughnecks, the gangbangers. So I felt a connection with Jasmine as far as that, with the whole dating situation.
Interesting.
Yeah. Still having that issue now. Me and John Paul talked about that.
Hey, you can swipe right live right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I like the when I saw the breakdown. I like the just the 6 different characters. I liked how everything was like this person. Boom, 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 boom. How's this all gonna work? And I've never played. I just wanted to see if I could play dumb. I just wanted to see if I could play this guy that doesn't understand what's going on and silly as he is or whatever. Because I've never, for a lack of a better, I've never played a guy this not intelligent and just sort of like, what? I don't get it. What? I just wanted to see if I could do it, and I just wanted to see if I could have fun with it. And God, those auditions were fun. I remember the auditions. They were. It was just fun. It was a fun day.
Yeah. It was.
Mixing and matching who's gonna do what. It was just fun.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, growing up for me, I always wanted to I was an only child, and so I always felt isolated from people. I didn't feel like anyone really understood me, and even being in football, and loving the arts too, those two just didn't. I just was always breaking stereotypes, trying to break stereotypes, but most of the time just failing and being misjudged. And so it really spoke to me reading this. And I think the best way to connect with people and communicate ideas is through humor, and so that's what I loved about it.
I loved it when I read it the first time. I thought it was hysterical, and I too loved the differences in all the characters. And as far as my character Heather, I really did relate to her because there were a lot of similarities, and I love how she she knows what she wants out of life, and she has her act together. And I don't know if I personally have my act together. I guess I like to think that I do, but I could relate to. I did also like that she was blonde and had her act together and knew what she wanted out of life, because I do think that in talking about stereotypes, that often the blonde gets that ditzy stereotype. And me personally, if you know me personally, I can't stand blonde jokes. So a blonde joke comes up, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna cut you, like I'll put that to rest right away. So I did like that aspect. But in general, it is interesting that the unfortunate part of it though is that how stereotypes are kind of generalized, because I have so many friends that are of different races, and they know what they want out of life and have their act together. So it doesn't have to be a blonde white girl that has those characteristics, but unfortunately that's just the generalization, I guess, is what happens.
Now, have any of you ever been stereotyped?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Walking out of the store without anything there was an assumption several times that something was in my pants. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah. I don't know. Did that ever happen to you?
That they assumed something was in my pants?
Yeah. Or no?
No.
You?
Actually, it has happened, but I understand that. Yeah.
Oh, it did happen. Well,
Yeah,
never mind.
yeah.
Forget I said that.
No, but there's plenty of other times where it should have and it didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been stereotyped as far as my hair being natural. Yeah, like people will come to me like, oh, you must be pro-black and pro-sister and natural innocence. Like, no, I'm not. I just wanted to go natural.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a head full of healthy hair.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is about the whole natural thing. I think you don't wear deodorant or you don't wash yourself. I don't know.
And interestingly enough, as we were casting, that became a huge discussion point about what would be the ideal black beauty that people would be super hot for. And one of the points was it wouldn't be natural hair.
Yeah.
And that was, we had a lot of discussion about that, and what Jasmine should look like. And wigs, which all this talk about what wigs and this and that and all kinds of craziness. So that's very interesting.
It is. Like, even as far as like the black community, like I feel like I get a lot of compliments regarding my hair to non-black men. Like, a lot of black guys don't like the natural look. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but the guys that I've come across, like even some of my family members, they're like, oh, I want you to go back to straight hair. Like, no, I don't want to go back to
See,
straight
that blows
hair.
my mind. I think you are I love your natural hair. I think it's gorgeous, and to me, I don't think one way or another. It's funny, isn't
That's
it?
a huge deal.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal with black women. Yeah, that'll be another show for sure. 'Cause that makes me think about a couple things.
I've had I don't know what category this falls in, but I've definitely on purpose like I date interracially, I date everybody, but I found myself, if I've gone out back in the day with like a non-black girl, like a white girl or something like that, like when they get in my car, I feel like my music selection has to be more diverse just to catch them like, oh, all right, cool, he's not like, so I might hit you with Enya, and then they hit you with like Ice Cube, and then like John Mayer, and like just really, they can't get one girl was like, I can't get a read on you right now. I can't get a read on you. Exactly. I'm like, I need to keep you on your toes, and I like try to just fit me in this box. I'm like, I was at a Journey concert like last year, and this lady tapped me on my shoulder. She's like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "What?" I said, "What are you doing here?" I like Journey. She's like, "Oh, okay." She was like, "Yeah." I went to Jimmy Buffett concert in Vegas. Only black dude in the whole stadium, but that was all right.
Wow.
It was cool, but
That was great.
That is funny.
Wow.
To piggyback on that, like, I feel like I forced myself to be very diverse when it comes to music and movies because I think, like, it's so funny. I had a coworker ask me, "Do you listen to hip hop?" I'm like, "Why?" Because I'm black. Like, you wouldn't ask me, "Do you listen to rock and roll?" Like, and I do. There's certain artists that I like. I like Depeche Mode. I like Queen. And I feel like music is music. It doesn't have a color to it.
Yeah.
Music is music. It's all great music. But I feel like growing up where I grew up, I feel like it's all hip hop because it's supposed to, as far as like the hip hop now, it's supposed to hit like the streets. It's supposed to be streets. But then it's like it's a lot of white kids that listen to hip hop.
Yeah.
So I feel like now it's a little different. Like now you don't expect just only black people to listen to hip hop. Now it's everyone. It's a universal thing. And I feel like that's what music and movies and everything else should be. It should be universal. It's just telling a story.
Exactly. And so when you think about kind of moving from music to film and television, do you think that the way people consume content today, do you feel that the things that people are attracted to, are you seeing more or less stereotypes in television, in projects, and the ones that are very successful that catch on? What do you see as the trend these days? Are people gravitating more towards stereotypical characters? And do you see yourselves on television?
I think we're progressing, but we have a long ways to go. So that's one of the things. Anytime someone says, "Oh, things have changed," it's like, well, they have, but they have so much farther to go that it doesn't feel like they've changed that much. You know, like that new show, Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah.
Like I read a great article about the creator of the show, and it's based on his memoirs, and he was just like really angry at how they dumbed it down and they stereotyped it up but he eventually came to the conclusion that he's like, okay, that's where we're at right now, and if, I can just take my ball and go home, or I can play with what's going on right now and try to change it from within.
Yeah.
So.
I know I was reading a lot as far as like backlash for like popular shows like How to Get Away with Murder, Scandal, and Empire, and people were upset because they felt like a lot of the leading ladies, Taraji and Carrie and Viola, were playing women that weren't ideal role models for black women. And I was just like, well, these are characters. And I mean, we have Blackish. Blackish is completely different from all three of the shows. But I feel like the bigger picture is like, it's great content, it's good acting, it's great directing, and we're receiving great ratings from the show. And I just feel like people think like everything is supposed to be the Cosby Show, but I feel like that's not realistic.
Right. Right.
And it doesn't matter what color it is. Everybody can relate to Kerry Washington in her position.
Yeah.
In her love triangle. I mean, I haven't really been following the show since like the second season, but with her going from Fitz and the other guy.
Right.
Yeah, like we've all experienced that, no matter if we're black, white, or Asian, or Indian.
And that's a universal thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Love triangles.
Exactly.
You don't know which one, and you go back and forth.
Right, but when it comes to us, people of color, like people feel like, oh, it just always have to be positive because if we do anything negative, that's a downfall. And I'm like, I just don't agree.
Like especially in movies, a lot of it was more about. I would say the more difficult black experiences, like let's say what gets popular in Hollywood these days, slave movies. If you make a slave movie, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and so that to me is always a little awkward because, like, I would love to see black folks represented in like positions of power and actually advancing in some sort of way, but it's like. I don't know. There's something very interesting that it's the slave films or the civil rights films, and these are important stories that have to be told. But I just feel like it also continues a message that this is who you are as a black person.
Yeah.
And so I would love to see Hollywood break out of that and tell more stories, diverse stories, everyone's story, and not just that.
No, I was just saying it's interesting too because there's a lot of typecasting involved, and as an actor, I think some of us we struggle with the typecasting because we're like, oh, we can do more than that. I have range and blah blah blah. But in a way, the typecasting actually really helps us because we get consistent work in our typecasting. But I had a friend who, she was talking about work and auditions and her struggles, and she was like, I'm so sick of, she's like, it's cool. Like, she was doing great things, huge auditions, huge roles. And she's like, but I'm sick of going in reading for she's Black. And she's like, I'm sick of reading for the maid, the secretary, and the whatever, And she's right. Like, she shouldn't, like you said, sometimes that needs to just that's enough of that. It's the same thing as I don't want to go in and keep reading for the ditzy blonde like that. Both of those things just that's not right. I feel like again, if it keeps you work and keeps you going, but at some point there's some sort of like you said, it just has to stop.
I feel a lot of progression in terms of the gay community, in terms of those roles. I think that's kind of cool. There's a lot. They're starting to, even in auditions, I'm starting to see that more. Oh, this character's gay, and it's not a big deal anymore. And I struggle with as an actor to I got offered a part for this independent, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do it because the guy was gay, but I didn't have a problem really with the character being gay necessarily. But I was like, oh, how does the Black community see that? Because they're not that accepting of gay stuff. It's you're a Black actor. If you do something gay, they're you're gay. You know what I'm saying? There's no, you're not acting.
Right.
That's coming from a real place for you. And there's no. People will be 6 years later, yo, he did a gay movie. Go look it up. People be on Will Smith, that movie he did. What's that? Six Degrees. Go look it up. He's kissing a dude. He's acting. Go look it up.
But so you felt, you felt awkward about that because of how the Black community was going to perceive it, or how not yourself.
It was more the pressure of if this gets out and I got to deal with this and that the backlash of it kind of that's. I'm not. I don't know. I just felt I was am I at a point in my career where I can handle that backlash? I'm probably not. You know what I'm saying? If it got to that point or So I'm
But what if that was your biggest role yet, the most prominent role?
I don't know. That's what it was. That's what was kind of the struggle. I was talking to the director. I was like, "How about we take out this kissing scene?" And he's like, "It's kind of part of the." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I could hug him real hard." And
we get that kissing scene in this.
I could hug him really hard.
Oh my gosh.
So in keeping with that,
I don't know.
That's interesting.
I love you.